to Brands Hatch for the final round of the BRSCC Fiesta Championship with MRF Tyres. This weekend will decide all of our class champions, so let's get down to the holding bay for race 1. Race 1 for the Fiestas is lined up behind me, almost ready to go, and on pole position is Sam Watkins in the number 7 car there. Steely face from Sam. We get a small wave, so the nerves aren't too strong with Sam, but the man that the nerves will be strong with are way back in P5. It's Harry Gooding in the car 56. Harry on the verge of clinching this championship. I'm going to squeeze in here and see if I can grab him as he clambers in the car. If I can just squeeze in, let Harry jump in his seat and have a quick word. Harry, this could be a big moment for you. We were trying to do the sums off camera to work out exactly what you need in this race to win the championship. None of us are clever enough to work out exactly, but a good result probably will cement the championship.
Yeah, we needed some good results. I'm not thinking too much about it. I'm just going to go do my thing. And I won't be certainly celebrating until after race 3 when it's all certain. But no, I'm obviously aware I've got to be curious of the championship, but I can't think about it too much and get my head mixed up with it, so just going to go out and do what we always do.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Race number 1, heading out on track.
Pole position, Sam Watkins. Danny Harrison alongside, Ryan Falconbridge and Simon Horrobin row 2, Harry Gooding and Nick Sanderson on row 3. They're followed by Josh Watkins and David Knight. Ollie Hunt on row 5 with Tom Hutchins, then Richard Dawson and Tim Glover. Jamie Going with Robert Stevens to his outside. Ricky Coomber, Ryan Beck and Jake Dawson completing Class C. Class D headed by John Cooper from the returning Alistair Kellett, Jamie White and Luke Bannister, Zachary Lucas, Marco Ricci, Mark Court, Tim Bennett and Colin Newbold completing the grid. Sam Watkins on the front row of the grid with Danny Harrison. Ryan Falconbridge next up. John Cooper taking the Class D pole today from Alistair Kellett. And then Class A headed by Mark Court from Colin Newbold. Those guys dicing out for championship honours this weekend as well. The lights go out. This is a super view, isn't it? Along the main straight here from Paddock Hill Bend. And away we go. Very good start indeed by David Nye in the black top, orange with blue trim at the bottom car, who's up into 5th place and round the outside. But Josh Watkins in red looking on the inside of him, but it was a super start by Sam Watkins with Danny Harrison in 2nd place. They come up to Druids. Harrison goes wide. Ryan Falconbridge was 3rd, but he's passed on the outside line now by Simon Horrobin. Blue skies. No hint of wet weather here. Look how crowded this field is. A massive field of cars. And the Season D's getting involved. And we just look there for Jamie White, who's looking to try and wrap up the Class D championship in this one. Our presenter and interviewer, Joe Tanner, was saying that it is difficult to work the points out, but realistically, let me tell you, in terms of Class C, Harry Gooding, who's there chasing Jamie Going, is 124 points ahead of Jamie Going in the championship coming into this race. That's for Class C. Class D, Jamie White leads Zachary Lucas by 135. And there is Nick Sanderson on the outside line, the returning Nick Sanderson. Good to see him here. After this race, 50 points for a win for each race. There are 2 races left after this one, which means just over 100 points available because there's fastest laps to be settled as well. But with that gap, barring any problems for Jamie White and Harry Gooding, they will wrap up their respective class titles in this race. But the overall championship, I don't think we can work out until we get to race 3. Class A is another matter. Only 11 points separating Mark Court and Colin Newbold at the moment in Class A for the older cars, the mid-90s Mark III Fiestas. So Gooding chasing Going. Going will pull a few points back in this one, but not enough to make any difference to the outright championship. Coming into the meeting, Danny Harrison 5th in the standings in Class C. It was Gooding from Going, David Nye, Tom Hutchins, as we get a little bit of autocrossing going on there. Danny Harrison is in 5th. Ryan Falconbridge 6th in the Class C standings. Class D headed by Jamie White from Zachary Lucas, Tim Bennett. And then Luke Bannister 4th from Marco Ricci and John Cooper in 6th place. And Cooper having a good qualifying with pole here ahead of Alistair Kellett with Jamie White in 3rd. Gooding chasing the returning Nick Sanderson. Good to see Nick back. A quick peddler over many years in the Fiesta Championship, and one hopes that the drivers we're seeing here returning has a little bit of a whippy moment there, does Nick, but gathers it all up. Harry Gooding gets a little bit closer. We'll start to try and pedal a bit more pressure on to come onto the main straight, the other end of the straight. Sam Watkins still there. Danny Harrison all over his rear end. Simon Horrobin running in third place. Through goes Richard Dawson in the white Jam Sport number 8. It's the Welshman still out front. Harrison has a little look. Horrobin back in third. The orange car with the black top. Another late returnee to the championship. David Nye seems to have lost a little bit of ground as well. Here is John Cooper up ahead of Alistair Kellett. The green car of Jamie White. Ricky Coomber in the 27, a welcome addition to the grid in the Class C car as well. And Jamie White really, as I say, just has to finish in class. He's amassed a good load of points over the course of the season. Now, I was talking about those drop scores, and White had 2 non-starts, or a no-show effectively at Cadwell Park. Didn't do the Cadwell Park round, so only really drops 1 score, which I think is a second in class, because he had two seconds in class. One at Brands Hatch at the start of the year, one at Silverstone last time out. So he drops a lot of points for 1 race, but Harry Gooding gets spanked a little bit more in the 56 car because he's got a retirement, and you see Gooding just looking across, I think a 4th and a 6th position as well, so he drops more scores. So Gooding will be mindful of that as we work through these 3 races this weekend. Race leaders coming through shot, and it's the yellow of Sam Watkins still out front. Nick Sanderson remained ahead of Harry Gooding there, who's got a little bit of a gap behind him now. So Harry, on looking at the records in the junior championship, remember he was the Fiesta Junior champion a couple of seasons ago, scored 12 podia in juniors and 6 race wins, but I don't think any of them were here. It's not to say that he didn't have any good results here, because he had 3 second places here at the opening round this year, Harry Gooding, on his debut in the senior championship, as we watched Danny Harrison, a man who won on his senior debut, putting the pressure still on Sam Watkins out front. Be good to see Watkins back next year. What you might see with this championship is drivers hoping to move on, maybe, of course, into the BRSCC's TCR Championship for next year. Maybe also perhaps moving into the touring car arena, and perhaps going into Clio's. We've had several drivers doing that over the years. So the options are there, but the BRSCC very much this year putting in a progression in place for these drivers to stay with them in their TCR Touring Car Championship. So we'll see whether any of these drivers do indeed make the move up, but it makes the whole thing become a closer knit paddock, and we've certainly got some very talented drivers in this championship, and over the years we've seen quite a few of them move upwards and onwards, and long may that continue in this championship, which, as I say, can actually be a victim of its own success at times, with drivers moving on, and then we have to get new drivers in to come and race with us, as Danny Harrison still puts the pressure on. Cracking battle for the lead we've got here along Cooper Straight. Harrison not far enough to look up the inside line into the left-hander at Surtees. A couple of lengths as we get the camera at 90 degrees side onto them, and it's Watkins soaking up the pressure at the moment. Rejoined us at Thruxton for the anti-penultimate race event of the year, the double-header. I couldn't find any Thruxton results in my records, which go back a wee way, but I'm wondering if it was the precursor to the non-Toka Championship Fiestas that raced at Thruxton before, as Watkins gets a big sideways moment on there. Harrison will be buoyed by that, and he's going to be even more focused on the rear end of that car. So Harrison still in second, Simon Horrobin third, Ryan Falconbridge followed by Josh Watkins in red. Watkins very clearly, the lead Watkins, very clearly racing hard and doing everything that he can to bang in those fastest laps to add to the pole position time that he took in qualifying today. 56.243, a 56.5 for Danny Harrison. So those two set their stall out really very early on in the day and were close together in quali and close still here in the race. You can see at the moment Watkins not getting away for the time being as we approach half distance for this 20-minute race. If we get a safety car, that will eat into the time. Obviously hoping that we don't get a safety car as we watch Nick Sanderson starting to close in as well. Sanderson, good to see him back with the championship, and noted driver of old. Also called him several years ago racing in the Scottish Fiesta Championship, and that's Jamie Going, second in the Class C standings, that he's putting pressure on. Jamie Going realistically with, at the moment, a mathematical chance of winning Class C and perhaps the overall championship as well. But he's not far enough ahead in this race of Harry Gooding, his teammate incidentally, Jamie Gooding, getting him muddled up. Jamie Going, the team boss of Jam Sport. He's had a good season, Going adding to his race win tally and coming under pressure from Nick Sanderson. If we can persuade the likes of Sam Watkins, Josh Watkins, Nick Sanderson, maybe even Alistair Kellett to come back racing the championship next year, I'm sure we'll have a lot of new drivers as well keen to join the mix and make their mark on the championship as well. Now, as Sanderson looks on the inside line going into Paddock Hill Bend, but Jamie Going holds on to it. They're coming up Halewoods into Druids. Immediately in front of them is Tom Hutchins, home circuit for him, comes from Crowborough. Multi-podium finisher this year, Tom Hutchins, had a good run in the championship, just 2 retirements over the course of the season. It's a long championship for these guys. This is round 20 of 22, so it's getting on towards the level of racing that you see in touring cars, who of course have 30 races over the course of the season, and probably on par with, I think, more races than you see in Clio Cup, and probably on par with what you see in the Ginetta Championships on the Toka package. So it's a great value championship, plenty of racing over the course of the season, and mostly, as I've said, 3 races per weekend. Here comes Harry Gooding, who is in position at the moment, just working the points out. Gooding is going to be on for around about 28 or 30 points. The fact that he's scoring, and also that we've got Jamie White scoring well too, means that both of those guys, I think, in this race are going to wrap up their respective class titles. Here is the Class D battle. First, second and third all together on track, and it's John Cooper out front at the moment. John Cooper back to the number 88 for this round, and certainly under some pressure here. I'm wondering what Jamie White's mindset is, whether he knows that neither of these 2 guys ahead of him are championship contenders. The key thing for Jamie White, who's in the green car there, is that he's ahead of the main rivals in the championship, and those being Tim Bennett and Zachary Lucas. Lucas running second in the championship at the moment, but Jamie White is a racer. We know from his Mighty Mini racing days here, when the Minis race with us at the British Racing and Sports Car Club, that he's keen to take a win, and maybe he'll just have done the sums and want to get this race out of the way, but he will, I think, for sure be wanting the win if he can do it without putting the car at risk. That's going to be the key thing for Jamie White, who at the moment drops either of 2 second places, one in the last race, round 19 of the championship on the international circuit at Silverstone, and before that, round 2 of the championship here at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit back on the 24th of March. So none too shabby, his sequence of results, and there was half a gap I thought he might go for there, but being a little bit circumspect, but putting Alistair Kellett under pressure. And this is a really good battle between these 2. Kellett, of course, 2016 champion. Jamie White, last year's champion, outright and Class D, and they're allowing John Cooper to stretch his legs a little bit at the moment. As I say, Cooper having won his class at Silverstone, racing with the late John Bateman's number on board the car. Nick Sanderson here about to pass Tom Hutchins, and does so. Is he going to have a look up the inside line of Jamie Going as well? So it's Going, Sanderson, Hutchins, a little bit of a gap back to Harry Gooding in the 56 car, and Harry looking here to wrap up the championship. We're getting in towards 3/4 distance here in the anti-penultimate race of the season. A good race between Sanderson and Going here. Still Sam Watkins up front from Danny Harrison. They'll start to get involved in traffic sooner or later, and that might upset the apple cart a little bit as far as the leaders are concerned. But Sanderson here, this group dicing for 6th place at the moment, and Jamie Going actually not under too much pressure at the minute, but Sanderson looks like he's starting to reel that car in once again, coming into clearways, which continues round Clark Curve and onto the Brabham Straight. Once again, here we get a look at some of the traffic which these guys are going to have to deal with, and is it going to be a problem for the race leader making his way through? That's Ricky Coomer in the 27 car, who's passed by the first and second machines. We've still got Simon Horrobin in 3rd place. Not really in touch with the leaders. It is definitely a battle between the 7 car of Sam Watkins, the Welshman, ahead of the Essex-based racer going along Cooper Straight. Simon Horrobin's going to pop a lap on Ricky Coomer as well. Cooper running 15th in Class C at the moment, but Sam Watkins still there. He's broken away a little bit, so whether he just perhaps got a slightly better line maybe, or passed one of the traffic cars a little bit in a little bit of a more advantageous position remains to be seen. But he crosses the line once again in lead position, and not too much traffic ahead of him at the moment, but he will be planning and plotting as to how he can deal with that. And the car that's up in front, of course, is Mark Court. Mark Court leading in Class A. 2nd position in Class A is Colin Newbold, so the gap between those two, 413 to 402, will come down by 4 points, and essentially Mark Court's going to have to beat Colin Newbold in all 3 races today in order to secure the championship in terms of Class A, just to fill you in on what's going on there. So we need to keep an eye on that as well. Only the 2 drivers in it this weekend, but they paid their entry fees, and the points between the 2 of them have been toing and froing all season. There is Ryan Falconbridge in 4th place as the leaders go across the line. Mark Court is passed going into Paddock Hill Bend by the race leader Sam Watkins, who's starting to develop the gap now over 2nd position Danny Harrison. Simon Horrobin is still running in 3rd, so on for a podium. There is Horrobin in the orange car with the black top. Ryan Falconbridge next. Josh Watkins has stayed relatively close to him. Josh Watkins past Ricky Coomer. Through Druids they go. Big gap back to the group behind, which are all squabbling still, with Jamie Going in that group. And Tom Hutchins and Nick Sanderson involved in the racing as well. But here is Sam Watkins. Fastest lap for him back on lap 13. So probably just past mid-order, lap 13, and still there, comes along the straight and goes across the line once again. So Watkins clear of Danny Harrison. So he's going to do Harrison's championship points no harm at all here, because he's ahead of his main rivals, which is the key thing. Through shot goes Luke Bannister. Luke is running in 4th position in Class D, so just he'd be on the podium if it wasn't for Alistair Kellett coming out to play this weekend. Luke Bannister having a decent run, and here comes this battle up the hill, and let's see Sanderson on the inside line. Tom Hutchins is behind him, and Jamie Going remains in front of them at the moment. Let's see whether Going can hold on to that. It's been a super battle between these 3, and the race car consulting machine immediately behind, putting the pressure on. As I say, Sanderson, this is like putting an old pair of slippers on for him. He's set straight back into the racing and hassling the Jam Sport team boss. A good clean race between these 2 so far is what we've seen on camera, and they head onto the main straight once again, with Going still there and still ahead of Harry Gooding, which means that he is going to close up, but it's not going to be in with a shout of securing the championship here. The gap is going to be in excess of 100 points, and provisionally Harry Gooding is going to have won Class C. Jamie White will provisionally won Class D, but we've still got the overall championship to go for, as we mentioned earlier on in this 20-minute race. Class A is going to go all the way to the fire as well, so all panned out pretty well, as Jamie Going looking to try and get past Ricky Coomber here, looks one way and then finds Nick Sanderson on the outside line as well, and Sanderson here was I think hoping that he might find the gap. Going's now on the outside line, and Sanderson could do well to tuck down on the inside line here, which he does. Sanderson read that well. Going getting a little bit boxed in by Ricky Coomber. No fault of Ricky's, because the track goes left, it then goes right. But Going still got his nose in front as Nick Sanderson looks on the outside line. This is great racing. Tom Hutchins immediately behind, and Sanderson I think is going to go on the attack on the inside line as they go to paddock. He has a look. Going is giving him room as well. That's what I said about clean racing. Can Jamie Going get him back on the cut, back up the hill? No, Sanderson comes across, going to the outside line. Hutchins is on the outside, but can't do anything about it. The Jam Sport car is past, and now Tom Hutchins is coming through, and on the outside line as they come down into Graham Hill Bend, they're side by side. Going trying to hold on to it, again giving respect, and look, giving racing room there to Tom Hutchins, who has to go a little bit wide. The officials won't clobber him for track limits there because he had nowhere else to go, but it's still side by side between the pair of them, and Hutchins has got the inside line, and David Nye's coming up into the mix as well. David Nye tries to go through, Hutchins passes Going, David Nye right behind him as well. Going's going to have a run down on the inside line now as they come out of Clark Curve, still side by side. Going there at the moment. Hutchins on the outside line has got to be mindful of David Nye as well. Harry Gooding is right behind them too as they cross the line once again. So the last lap for Sam Watkins, who's pulled clear just over a second ahead of Denny Harrison, and it was really once he started to get into the Class A and Class D traffic that he made it count. Sometimes the cars fall well for you, but he's got the fastest lap as well, Sam Watkins, so we can take absolutely nothing away from him. And Danny Harrison, who's in P2. Here they come. So Sam Watkins is going to pick up a second win of the season, having won race 1 at Silverstone on the international circuit. Flashes the lights. It's lights out to checkered flag for Watkins. Harrison is in second place. Watch for the third place car. Simon Horrobin taking third. I can tell you that Class D is won by John Cooper. Here's the result. Watkins from Harrison Ryan, Falconbridge, Josh Watkins next, Nick Sanderson, Tom Hutchins, Jamie Going, David Nye and Harry Gooding. John Cooper in 10th, winning Class D from Alistair Kellett, Jamie White, Ryan Beck, Jake Dawson, Ollie Hunt next from Tim Glover, Luke Bannister, Mark Court, Ricky Coomber, Marco Ricci, then Colin Newbold, second in Class A, that having been won by Mark Court, Tim Bennett and Robert Stevens completing the finishes.
Sam, well done. A lot of pressure mid-race there, but you seem to cope with the pressure and just start to pull that little gap, and before you know it, it was easy.
Yeah, starting to catch up with the other classes of cars helped a lot. But yeah, it was really fun in the end, very stressful.
And at that point, you wish that you were in the hunt for the championship.
Yeah, could be, maybe next year, I don't know.
And then that'll be the plan, to return next year and try to fight for the title?
Yeah, hopefully. See how it pans out next year, see what type of races we got.
Well done.
Cheers, thank you.
Danny, second place. It looked like the win was on midway through the race. You had a lot of pressure on him, making him defend. He was making a few small mistakes, but as the laps went on, he just seemed to get a small gap, which turned into a huge gap.
Yeah, we put the pressure on at the start. We was really making him think about where he was positioning his car, and he was making a few mistakes around paddock and into Druids, but it just wasn't a big enough mistake for me to find the gap past. But as the laps went on, the back marker started coming towards us, and just trying to get through the traffic cleanly was quite hard work with the speed difference. But hopefully in the next race we can make that move earlier on.
Yeah, you've got another chance tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully that one will go better.
Good luck.
Thank you.